Hello, everyone, and welcome to Balanced Bodybuilding Radio. I am your host. My name is Leemarie. I am a Glam Girl bikini coach and an NPC bikini competitor, and I am here with my coach and co-host.
Hey guys, Amy Anger, Glam Girl Bikini founder and CEO.
So today we are going through part one. This is going to be a two-part episode, and we are tackling 27 fitness myths. And we're going to go through this list, and we're going to let you know if we agree that this is a myth or if we actually think it has some truth to it. And just a little precursor, most questions that you're going to ask a coach about fitness and nutrition are going to start off with, well, it depends. So I love tackling stuff like fitness myths because there's not a lot of hard, fast rules. A lot of it is individual. So we're going to dive in to half of these questions. Hopefully we'll get through at least half this week and then tune in next week to hear the rest. So we're going to just dive in right now to number one fitness myth is you need a pre-workout or post-workout snack. So
Thumbs up. Yes.
we got a thumbs up. We got a thumbs up.
Vote.
Okay. So they're saying this is a myth. I'm going to say it depends. I'm going to say it depends on what you've eaten that day. It depends on your goals and it depends on the type of workout you're about to do. I think, sure, if you're going out for a 20-minute walk, maybe you don't need a pre-workout and post-workout snack for that 20-minute walk. But, and also if you're doing cardio in the morning and you're doing it fasted on purpose, that's a different type of a workout. But if you're going in for a weight training or resistance training workout, depending on your goals, I'm going to say you're going to benefit from having fuel in your system beforehand. And also you're going to benefit by replenishing your fuel afterwards. So I'm going to actually say you're going to benefit by that pre-workout, post-workout snack. But I also think that they're talking about general public, and maybe they mean that you don't necessarily have to eat right before your workout and right after your workout. So what are your opinions on that, Amy?
Yeah, I have big opinions on this because the science doesn't lie.
Yep, let's go.
Muscle protein synthesis does not turn on if you don't have a protein bolus before you're doing resistance training. And if you actually want to grow muscle, if that's your goal, you absolutely need a pre and post workout.
And how
And
long
precision
can
nutrition will back you up on that too.
I love it. How long, from the research, how long can that window be? Like, what if somebody can't work out right after they eat? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a kind of a loaded question that we could probably do another podcast on the anabolic window. Now, I think the anabolic window is a bit of a myth because there's not really a magic window. So that is a myth. So depending on how close to your workout, like let's say, well, like you said, fasting, that's definitely not optimal. But if you're going to have if you're going to fast, then you have to have it right away because you really need protein, muscle protein synthesis to turn on. But if you had your pre-workout, you lifted, it was a short workout, you can wait, a couple of hours, especially if it was right before you worked out. Now, if you waited 2 or 3 hours, worked out, then you really need it immediately after. But you definitely have like a window of time. It's not like that magical 30 minutes. We recommend 30 minutes as a general guideline just because, most people will eat, drive to the gym, have like an hour workout. They might do their cardio afterwards. By then it's been like 2 or 3 hours. So, basically within that 30-minute window.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Okay. So it depends. So, all right. Number two, myth. They're saying this is a fitness myth. More is better.
Yeah, I would say thumbs down on that one.
Wait,
I do
what do you
not think
mean by
more is
thumbs down?
better.
Do you think that's a myth or do you think are you saying by thumbs down you think
Yeah,
that's
I
a myth?
don't
Yes.
agree with it.
I don't
Yeah,
agree with
it
it.
means I don't agree
Yes.
with it. I agree with getting a post-workout snack. I don't agree with getting more is better. There's a thing called
Yes.
overtraining and your adrenal glands will hate you.
Yeah, there's also a thing called your goals, and doing
Yeah.
more training is not necessarily going to get you to your goals. It might just make you really tired and really hungry, really
Yep.
stressed out, and it might not be sustainable. So, I mean, really, if you are, I mean, if you're in your improvement season, if you're not in a prep, if you have a job, if you have a family, if you're a lifestyle client, you probably don't have 3 hours to spend in the gym versus 45 to 60 minutes. So work smarter, not harder. Okay, so number three, this is a great one. I love this one. Here they're saying this is a myth. Your knees should not go past your toes when you squat.
They're saying that's a myth.
Yes.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that proper
I
form
can't
there?
remember what thumbs up or thumbs down is. I think that is a myth.
That what should it be, do you think?
I think it totally depends on the length of your femurs, the length of your torso, whether you're doing high bar, low bar, goblet squat, front squat, back squat. I think more important to watch is that all four corners of your feet are planted to the floor, that you are grounding, and that your core is in tight, that your knees aren't caving in. Obviously, some of it is like an indication of bad squat form, especially if you have poor hip mobility and poor ankle mobility. So if your knees are jutting forward while at the same time you're going up on your toes, your ankles are, or your heels are coming up off the ground, knees are caving in, things like that, your torso is caving down under the weight. Sure, there are indications that that could be bad squat form, but as a tall girl who squats, I definitely think sometimes my knees go past my toes and my feet are grounded on that floor. I'm pressing through all four corners, and it's a solid squat form.
Yeah, I have to say that I agree. So I would be giving that like quote thumbs up just because after years of doing like group exercise instruction and things like that where I had jumper's knee really bad because I was lunging and squatting
Mm-hmm.
improperly with
Mm-hmm.
my knees coming over my toes. It put a lot of strain on my patellar tendon. So I know through suffering through that injury that since then, I learned really hard lessons that I need to make sure that, when I'm teaching somebody an initial squat, they need to start with a box squat. So their
Yes.
knees are completely at 90 degrees
Mm-hmm.
and that they're not jutting forward over their toe because it does put a lot of pressure on the patellar tendon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my opinion. But
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah.
I love it. Okay, number four. This one's great. You can spot train. Now, if you don't know what spot train means, it means usually someone will come and they'll be like, I feel pretty I feel pretty good about, overall, but I just want to get rid of the body fat around my stomach area. I just want to,
Mhm.
get rid of that. Or I don't like my flabby arms. Can I just get rid of that? They'll pick one specific body part that they want to spot train. And I agree
Yeah.
that that is a myth.
Yeah, I gave my thumbs down, my red thumbs down. If you're watching on YouTube, you knew that. Um, yeah, it's like that bank account, right? We just have to keep making withdrawals from, keeping ourselves in the deficit. And the places where you don't want to lose fat are going to be the places you lose first. And the place you want to lose fat the most is going to be the last one. But you just have to keep pulling from that bank account. And, you know, it's, it's going to happen over time. It's going to come down to zero at some point, but it just takes that patience. Like for most females, it's usually like our glutes and our legs, and we
Mm-hmm.
start with our face and our arms and then abs and then all the way down. Other people are different, but yeah, we all hold body fat in stubborn places. Unfortunately, you
Mm-hmm.
can't just like say, I want this spot to go away first.
And I want to make the point as well that we are bodybuilders. And so if you're talking about, I want to build up a certain part of my body, we do very specific training here. As bikini competitors, we have a very specific shape that judges want to see on stage. And so we train specifically to build out certain parts of our body, which is so cool about resistance training. You can actually sculpt your body to a certain shape. Now, we all have genetics, right? But so that if you mean that, like let's say someone, specifically me, wants to get bigger shoulders, I can focus more on training my delts, focus more on upper body. And so if you mean that specifically spot training, that I think you can actually achieve. But most people, when they say spot training, they're talking about fat loss. So that's a myth.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just like, I want to lose fat in my stomach, or I want to, yeah.
Okay. Myth number 5, you'll get bulky if you strength train.
I'm gonna give my thumbs down, the red
Same.
thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Definitely believe that's a myth.
Yeah.
I heard a quote one time, or I read somewhere about how women lug around, 30, 50-pound kids. They lug around all the groceries bags in one trip. They carry laundry all over the house, but somehow when they go to the gym, they think if they lift anything more than the 5 pounds, they're going to get bulky, which I thought was a really good example. You lift heavy especially if you're a mom, if you run a house, if you're a working woman, you're lifting heavy all the time and you're
Yeah.
probably not bulky.
Yeah. Don't stay away from the baby weights. You're gonna end up getting less bulky in terms of fat if you have more muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you lift and the more muscle you get, it's smaller than fat. A pound of fat is so much more voluminous than a pound of muscle, takes up so much more space. So if anything, you're going to get bulky by not weight training,
Mm-hmm.
because that muscle will burn more calories at rest.
Mm-hmm.
So you're more likely to be in a deficit with more muscle.
I just had a client check in today that has maintained her weight for the last couple of weeks, but she just tried on an old swimsuit and it was too big for her. So case
Yeah,
in point. Build muscle,
exactly.
ladies.
Yeah, when you see those inches dropping and the weight's not, then you know that you're building muscle at a faster rate or at the same pace as you're losing fat, which is a
Mm-hmm.
great thing.
Super
So
exciting. Okay, myth number 6. Yoga is better for flexible people.
that would be a thumbs down.
Thumbs down. I
Yeah.
think, hey, if
I
you're
mean, you're going to
flexible,
get more flexible by doing it.
exactly. If you need flexibility, you should do yoga. It's a practice.
Yes,
I definitely
exactly.
think everyone should do yoga or some form of stretching and mobility practice just for general health.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, this one I thought was a really interesting one. So I think I know what they mean here. Myth number 7 is there is no quantum leap to optimum health. And
Did
what
you
they're
ever
saying
watch
is
that
there's
show?
no, I didn't watch it. I have no
Okay,
idea. Give
I
me the
I'm
reference.
old, so I watched it, and basically what he does in every episode, he goes to a certain place in time.
Okay.
So he is, he'll get teleported to like the Civil War, and he's like the entire episode is him as a character in the Civil War, or maybe in the future, whatever it is. So this is saying is like, boom, like you're right
Right.
there, right when you
Instant.
want to be. So it is
Magic pill.
definitely,
Magic
yeah,
formula.
thumbs
There is
down.
none. There
Yes,
is
there's
none.
no, yeah, it's so linear too.
Mm-hmm.
Or progress is not linear. It's just like so up and down, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. If anything sounds too good to be true, it is. And
Mhm.
if there was some sort of miracle thing, we would all know about it by now. So
Yes.
it is doing the basics day after day for years. Okay, so myth number 8. This is a good one. We all need more protein.
So that one's like, what are you actually intaking? So I have to say it's like a
Mhm.
thumbs down, because I mean, if you are actually a conscious bodybuilder or even just like somebody that's trying to get healthy, that's being coached for a lifestyle client, most of the time, like if you have guidance and your coach knows what they're doing, then you're going to have exactly what you need. So if you're overeating protein, that's not necessarily, you don't necessarily need more, I would
I would
say.
say in general, yes, if you are working with a coach. In general,
Yeah.
in lifestyle for weight
Yeah. Then it would
loss,
be the opposite answer.
I
Yeah.
I
If
would say
people don't know what
most,
they're doing in
yes.
general, everyone needs more protein.
In general, I think everyone needs more protein.
Yeah.
And that is my opinion, but I also know it has to do with your goals, but if your goals are fat loss and maintaining or building muscle, you probably are not eating enough protein.
Yeah. In
Especially
that
as you age.
context, I agree.
Especially as you
100%.
age and you are, working with muscle loss or deterioration
Mhm.
over the years, you definitely want to make sure you're getting in enough protein.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say thumbs up on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. For the general population of like, this is balanced bodybuilding radio. So, you
Right.
know, if you're not getting coached, yeah, you probably aren't getting
hmm
enough protein if you're there. So carbs are the devil is the next one. That's a thumbs down for me.
Thumbs
I
down. We love
disagree.
carbs.
Yeah, carbs
Yes.
are good.
Carbs
They're
are
great for
great. Carbs are
recovery,
great.
great for building muscle. They're a great energy source.
hmm
So,
They are great for, yeah, great for energy. Very filling, very high volume, and
mhm.
actually not super high calorie. I think the reason they get the carbs are the devil, reputation is because of low fiber, high sugar, high fat
Yeah,
carbs
the
that make it
obesogenic
easy
foods.
easy to overeat. So if you're
The
eating too
ones
many
that are hard to
calories,
go.
you can easily blame the carbs versus if you're
Mhm.
eating, oats, rice, potatoes, fruit, veggies, things
And
like
why do
that.
carbs get the bad rap? Because it's like fats are just right there with them. I mean,
hmm
if you're eating a cookie, you have just as many, but people always refer to it as carbs. Like, I need to cut
Yep.
my carbs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think when people cut carbs, they really actually just cut a lot of sugar and a lot of fat
Uh-huh.
and a
Yeah,
lot of
exactly.
calories. No, we love
Yes.
carbs. We love carbs. Okay. Myth number 10, running, or I put in just cardio in general, should be exhausting.
I think that one totally depends on the person.
I'm going to say no. I don't think it needs to be. I think it can be exhausting. It depends on your goal, your energy, how you're feeling. I mean, when I'm a few weeks out from a show and I'm doing a lot of cardio on purpose and not eating a lot of food, yeah, it's exhausting. But I think it's just like strength training. I think as long as you are working consistently to improve your fitness, sometimes you might do your cardio and feel absolutely great. It doesn't mean that wasn't a good cardio session.
Yeah. I mean, I just think like there's so many different types of cardio
Yeah.
too, and there's so many different scenarios and their durations and frequency. So yeah. Crunches strengthen your core. That would be a yes. Thumbs up for me.
So I'm torn on this one. I think yes. I think especially if you add some resistance or if you add volume. Like in order to build muscle and to get stronger, you obviously need to be have the progressive overload, if that makes sense. So something like a cable crunch, which I'm a huge fan of, or like a weighted, like a machine crunch or something like that, where you can add resistance. I definitely agree that you can strengthen your core, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
but like for beginners, if we're talking just kind of like, the general population, kind of like the protein thing, right?
hmm
I
hmm
mean, if you don't ever exercise and you do crunches, your core is going to get stronger. Now,
Sure.
just one part of your core, a lot of
hmm
people don't realize that it's not just the rectus abdominis, which crunches build. We also have a transverse abdominis, which is
hmm
lower abdomen. We have our obliques, which are on the side of our spine,
hmm
and we have the rector spinae that are on the backside. So I would say if you really want to strengthen your core, probably one of the better exercises is a plank because that
Yes,
gets
I agree with that.
all um of the cables of the tent around the spine in
Mhm.
place.
Mhm.
So I mean, that's really looking into it.
No, I completely
That's like
agree with
really
that.
reading between the lines on that one.
Yeah. No, that's good.
All right. Soreness is a sign of a good workout. I'd say not necessarily. So
I
I'm
would
like a
agree.
up and down
Yeah,
because
I would
I
agree.
always feel like more motivated if I knew I used proper technique, I like actually executed on the workout the way I was supposed to, had
Mhm.
technical failure on all of my things, and I'm sore the next day. I'm like,
Mhm.
because there's good sore and there's bad sore, but like when it kind of feels good to have that. It's kind of motivating for me, like when I get sore, because I'm like, oh man, I really pushed myself. But
Mhm.
there can be the extreme where you went too far and you like are almost to the point of hurting yourself, I guess.
Or being overtrained as well. Like
Mhm.
if you're going to the
Yeah.
gym consistently still sore from
And
like
you're
your
not
last
recovering.
workout, not
Yeah.
recovering. Yep, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so 13. More sweat means you've burned more calories.
Totally false.
I do not agree with
Got
that.
a big red thumbs down on that one. Yeah, because so many people sweat like really intensely, and then
I
I
I do.
never sweat. Like, I mean, there's something wrong with my pores. I don't sweat at all. I can be doing a million different things, and it's so
Hmm.
hard for me to break a sweat.
Yeah.
And I can be working really hard. So
Hmm.
I just don't think that has any validity. It's more about like the temperature of the room
Yes.
could be another reason why you're sweating. You're not going to be burning more calories just because you're doing hot yoga.
Right.
Um,
Or
sorry, but
sitting in a sauna.
yeah,
You could sit in a sauna. It doesn't mean you're sitting there burning calories. It does not.
you'll
It just
actually
means it's
burn
hot.
more calories if it's cold because of the shivering of the muscles and the contraction. So if
Very
you're running
interesting.
outside in the heat versus running outside in the cold, you actually burn
Hmm.
more calories in the cold.
Interesting.
Yeah, because of the shivering of the muscles and trying to maintain your body weight. Um,
Okay.
or I'm sorry,
I'll
like your body temperature, not your
go
body
do
weight.
cardio outside this winter.
Yeah, the
Okay,
snow bunny.
last one. Last one. This is a great one. And I think this is a myth that a lot of people believe. You can eat whatever you want as long as you work out.
You're watching on YouTube. You saw my eye roll. Thumbs down. Big red thumbs.
I want to say though that I'm assuming your goal is to have a lean physique, healthy and lean, right? If you don't care what your physique looks like and you just are working out because you enjoy working out, then I mean, I'm not the food police. You can eat whatever you want. But if you want to maintain a healthy, lean body, if you want to be slim, a healthy body size, you want muscles that show, you want to be lean, then you definitely need to be eating to fuel your goals. And it's a lot of the time exercising and working out spikes your appetite. You get even more hungry. So eating whatever you want, you might actually be eating way more calories than you're even burning in the gym, and you might actually gain weight. So that could be frustrating.
Yes. Well, as you probably all heard, I have a bell ring, and that is a client at my door. So,
Right. So thanks for joining us. Don't forget to tune in next week for part 2 of this episode. And in the meantime, follow us on Instagram at Balanced Bodybuilding Radio and share this with a friend and shoot us a DM if you have a question. And thank you so much for listening.
bye, guys.